Joining me in studio is Winfrey Owino. Winfrey, good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning, Fatia.
Right. Of course, one of the biggest stories that people are talking about is the new grading system, KCSE grading system that the Education CS announced. Tell us about that.
Well, actually, yesterday the Education CS did announce a new grading system for all KCSE students. That actually it's like around 6 or 7 cohorts remaining before we now turn and shift to the CBC curriculum. So yesterday he did announce a very critical change, which has really drawn a lot of criticisms online because most people don't really understand what he announced. Actually, the CS said that now in the grading structure, you do your 8 subjects, but they'll use 7. Out of these 7, 2 are compulsory, and it's maths, either English or Kiswahili or sign language, one of the 2. So maths and one of the 3 make the compulsory subjects, and then they'll now pick the other 5 best performed subjects. The CS said this is a way of him and of the ministry ensuring that we have more people enrolled to universities, and it also create space for us to have more professionals in the industry. But now, before that, it was actually maths, English, Kiswahili, and 2 sciences that were compulsory. And the 2 sciences were based on how a school decides to run its affairs. Most schools actually it's biology and chemistry, but most Christian organization schools, they choose a biology and CRE for the compulsory subjects, and then now they pick one humanity and a technical, whereby out of the 2, one of them is one that will be used to compute the final results. So those are the changes he made yesterday, and of course people are really criticizing it. People feel like it will be so easy for people to get these good grades that make them join university. So people are actually asking, what really is why are we in such a rush to make so many changes? They are actually arguing online. On Twitter, I've seen tweets of people asking themselves that why is it that when every cabinet secretary comes into office, they are rushing to make change, and from what is coming out is that Kenyans are actually tired of these changes. It's constant changes. We have Huduma number, Maisha number, we have the CBC, now we have a task force reviewing the CBC. Like, it's just too much for Kenyans, and they feel like the education sector should actually just be stagnant and stand on one thing. The changes are too much, and it's also confusing for the students as well as the stakeholders in the education sector. So basically that's the changes they made, but they were actually launching the exam season for 2023 national exams, which are set to begin towards the end of October. We'll have the national exams beginning, Fatia. So basically that's just it.
Right, very, very interesting. We'll see how that turns out really with the new changes, but I want us to move on now and talk about something else. Kenya Revenue Authority now is deploying service assistance, at least 1,400, to facilitate on a registration of businesses. Tell us about that.
Okay, so actually, the best point to begin this topic would be from President Ruto's promises when he was campaigning. He did promise that he was going to widen the tax base, and this is what I think when he was campaigning and when he was telling people didn't really get what he meant by increasing or widening the tax base. This means creating more avenues of collecting revenue for KRA. So the taxes have been enforced one at a time, but now he's actually released some experts, 1,400 of them, to various parts of the country to actually just facilitate tax collection, collect data for taxpayers, and also help taxpayers to get into the electronic system that was recently launched by KRA, and just to bring in all the details together. It's being reported that the 1,400 have actually gone through a paramilitary training, and they are best suited because now they understand tax issues and how to do the enforcement. And this is because earlier on, we saw the president and his deputy during the campaign period. They were actually saying they were going to change and reform the Kenya Revenue Authority to a more professional body that relates well with the people. This was just for them to correct what they thought was like personal attacks to people who had tax issues. So this was one of the things they had actually promised. What is really what people are actually complaining about is that the taxes are too much, and then now it's like people are now being forced to pay the taxes. But remember, this is what the president had actually promised before when he was campaigning. So all in all, people are actually complaining. There are people who are supporting the president's move. They say this is a way of us eradicating the debts and us taking debts from external bodies and all that. But just all in all, it's just the president enforcing his promises that he made during the campaign trail, Fatia.
That's very interesting, and I guess important for people to understand from that bit. But let's move on now. Finally, talk about Azimio leader Raila Odinga says he's still in active politics. Tell us about that.
Quite interesting, because just yesterday we were talking about Eliud Kipchoge and how he has reached his peak and it's time for him to exit the stage. Now today we are talking about Raila saying he's not going anywhere. He's still in active politics and that there's no one who is going to tell him when to go home. He actually said that he knows the direction to his home and he can go there. He will go there when he decides to, and nobody will tell him to do that. He actually responded to criticisms of people telling him that he's too quiet. You know, he has this psycho-fun support in the political arena. So he was actually responding to some of the criticisms that are coming up concerning his silence since the talks began. And he said his silence is just to pave way for the National Dialogue Committee to do its work, to have the talk so that he can chart a way forward once the talks are completed. But it's very interesting because really he'll form so many memes from this. If he goes for it again, he'll be now a continental meme, because this guy has been running for presidency since 1997 and he's never got it.
That should be around 5 times?
Yes, 5 times. So if he says he's still in active politics, definitely it means the next time you have elections, he'll also run again. And I don't know. I just don't know. But anyway, time will tell. Yeah. They also say power is something that is not easy to let go of. You know, for him, most people feel that it's time for him to start the mentoring and grooming the next kingpin of the Nyanza region, as well as now just forming a new leadership, a young face of leadership of his ODM party. But so far, we've not seen anything of the sort. And people have been trying to come up. Anybody who tries to come up, they are actually put down or they end up leaving. And so I don't know. I had somebody say that anybody who was in ODM tried to rise up and was kicked out. Their star shone brighter. I don't know how true that is, but anyway, time will just tell. But Raila